In the underground beneath the Hellwoods, Tanya's stepbrother Tristan was tampering with the remains of a dungeon long thought forgotten. But the demonic evil's henchmen were hard on his heels and were also slogging their way through the underground. Tristan had no choice but to retreat.
My brothers! In your eyes I see the same fear that would lead me to despair. The day may come when the...
Tristan, you good-for-nothing imbecile! Can't you just shut up for once? Or finally come up with a different speech? That's so... Hey! Are those my armies of evil? Here! Get me out of here so I can personally kick my stepbrother's butt! Go ahead! Finish them off! Give it to them! Push away past the expiry date cake, right in their faces!
Never! The power of magic flows through me! A magic barrier will keep those creatures at bay!
It seemed that Tristan did actually have some small knowledge of magic. His barrier was impenetrable to conventional attacks. Where magic was concerned, however, things looked just a little different. The spellbook perusing evil quickly set about tackling this problem underground. Before the mana-craving evil could resort to magic, it would first have to take care of the demons. It made perfect sense to have a vortex built to house demonic creatures. A new area of the dungeon has been discovered. Some parts of the underground were saturated with mana. Once dug up, this could be used to cast spells. The mana-addicted evil wanted to try this out as soon as possible. The room-building evil had had a vortex built. There, hired demons found shelter and a place to wait until they could be resurrected at the cost of evilness after an unforeseen demise.
Stand fast, men! There may come a day when courage fails us, but it is not this day. On this day we fight! By all that you hold dear on this good earth, I call you to stand firm! Brothers of the kingdom! Let us lay waste to the dungeon! Attack!
You stole that speech. I've heard something very similar to that before.
That's beside the point. Those words inspired my men. The pen is mightier than the sword.
But weaker than a horde battle axe. It's just too bad that I can't be there to watch the show because I'm stuck in your stupid cage.
There are enemies in your dungeon. A new area of the dungeon has been discovered. Doors in the dungeon not only reduce drafts, but could also stop heroes and other enemies in their tracks for a short time. They also increase the efficiency of rooms. It therefore made sense to have a door to close off a production room. The never-went-to-hogwash evil's little snot had built an arcanium. Should one of these droll little workers manage to find the time, mana would from now on be produced here. A little snot set about generating mana in the arcanium to make it available to the spell-wielding evil. The gallant evil had now gained access to a number of spells. Create resources, for example, allowed toolboxes or gobblers to quickly be created as if out of thin air. In keeping with his childlike disposition, the amused evil immediately tried this out. Payday.
There are enemies in your dungeon.
The childish evil's eyes glowed with joy as it successfully used the Create Resources spell. This would allow stocks to be filled even without decent production. A new area of the dungeon has been discovered. Oh. Payday. Oh. Your little snots have completely mined out a gold vein.
Enemies have entered the dungeon.
A new area of the dungeon has been discovered. Ding dong, it's payday. Your gold vein is nearly exhausted. Your little snots have completely mined out a gold vein. The spoiled evil had discovered a few stray demons who were all too willing to join his dark army. Of all things, these were stuck in a rather awkward position. The perplexed evil pondered how to go about it.
Hey, Tristan! Favorite, because only stepbrother. See my troops marching over there? I think they're gonna make short work of you.
Don't get your hopes up too soon, stepsister. My barrier and my men will stop them. We got what we wanted here, and we'll soon be on the road again.
Huh. Creatures, get me the hell out of here already! Come on, get a move on! Save me, free me, sign petitions demanding my release!
Payday! An arcane tear had appeared very close to the absurd evil's armies. These magical anomalies were not uncommon in the area and promised great power to those who knew how to use them. The creatures knew but one way to deal with these. The corrupting evil had captured an arcane tear. New power flowed through it, giving it the ability to now cast the Meteor Rain spell. As luck would have it, there was a group of heroes nearby who made worthy targets. The ingenious evil had managed to return the scattered demons safely back to the dungeon by means of a spell. The arcane tear's power could now be used by the spellcasting evil.
Talia, I still can't believe you really did all that. Weren't we like family to you?
I was constantly insulted and humiliated. Does that sound like a family to you?
Yes?
A first door now adorned the merciless evil's army had reached the magical barrier. A spell would sweep it away. The power of the arcane tears had been activated. Spells were immediately available again and were now even more powerful. And again, the power of the arcane tears stood available. While the Cruciatus intoning evil was making its way through the protective barrier, Talia and Tristan continued upon their way.
Tristan, beloved brother, would you be so kind as to open this cage door for me? There's no need for us to argue.
Step brother, and I simply cannot forgive you for slaying our foster father. Not to mention half of the good people of the country.
Only half? Huh. I mean, all that just kind of happened. I don't know how exactly it could all go so wrong either.
You put Tanos's head on a spear!
He bloody well deserved it! Time and again, I had to suffer insults from him and his henchmen simply because of my origins, as if all dark elves were evil.
You killed hundreds of heroes, slew Father's companions, and put Father's head on a spear!
They made me do it. It's society's fault.
The magic using evil had conquered an arcane tear. Armed with that captured power, it could now use the mana shield spell.
Tristan, I finally understand. I behaved poorly. If you let me out now, I vow to do better.
Really?
Of course not, you imbecile! I'd give you a wedgie worse than I ever gave you in our entire childhood. One you'd still be telling your grandchildren about, provided you can still have children and grandchildren at all.
Heroes had entered the dungeon, while the arsonist evil was marching its army around the overworld. Thanks to the demonic portal spell, creatures could instantly be sent back to the dungeon from the overworld.
Talia, I wish you would change your ways. Remember back when we were children and would play together by the creek?
And you threw me in?
You dropped a bee's nest on my head first!
Oh, that's right. I remember the way your head swelled up like a melon.
spell-wielding evil had seized an arcane tear. The newfound magic allowed it to now use a spell to summon the Prince of Hell. Payday! Creatures are collecting their pay. The fanatic evil's armies reached another magical barrier.
Ha! There's my army. Time for you to die, stepbrother. Go, my creatures! Grab them, run them down, rub hot chili sauce in their eyes, and get me out of this damn cage!
My brothers! In your eyes, I see...
You're not going to repeat that same old crap again, are you? Are you?
Men! Stop them! We have to move.
The ice-in-its-drink-loving evil's armies had defeated Tristan's pathetic defenders. Evil's creatures were filled with jubilation, but the disembodied essence of evil was not yet in the mood to celebrate, for Tristan himself had escaped and still had Talia with him. The lingering without physical form evil pretended to sigh and once again took up pursuit.